Hey, good evening, Wixman Ray, or Weatherman Ray, whatever you prefer to say, just so you understand what the Wix means. I've said that many times, but hey, we might have new people on here, right? So, our RGB satellite, it's getting kind of weird looking over here, dark red because the sun's setting. But I like to use this during the daytime. It's almost 7 o'clock Central Time. That means it's 8 o'clock on the East Coast. Yeah, on the Eastern Daylight Time. So the sun's starting to set out there, and then back the Pacific Time Zone, they are at 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock out in the Rockies through the Mountain Time Zone. All right, so yeah. So it looks like we got weather on both sides of the continent here of the United States, and a little system kind of going over the Great Lakes. Elsewhere, pretty quiet, except for down across South Texas. So, yeah, out west, most of this is just some high cloud. There is a little bit of rain occurring out in the Oregon and California, I believe, and we'll take a look at that, but it's nothing too significant. And then we got some clouds out, kind of extending through the desert Southwest and over Texas. We do got some rain and a little bit of maybe a couple thunderstorms over South Texas there. We have this frontal system that was tracking across the United States this last couple days. It's kicking off. I think there's one thunderstorm over Florida. Otherwise, there's still some lingering rain back across parts of the Northeast, mainly in Maine. And then we got a little disturbance moving through the Great Lakes with a few showers. So, yeah, that's what's going on, really. So, elsewhere, fairly quiet, where you see all this clear uh, skies, for the most part, clear. I mean, there's some clouds here and there, but nothing too significant. This stuff in Kansas and Missouri is just a little bit of high cloud, nothing to be concerned about there. Yeah, so we're starting out on the West Coast. Man, look at that. Very warm. Seattle's in the 70s. Uh, Portland 75. Eugene. So I got a little bit of rain trying to push in there. Maybe some real light stuff along the coast of Northern California and up into Oregon. Just really light stuff, but pretty warm across the west. We see. Okay, is this going to update for me? We got a bunch of mid to upper 60s in Montana, 60s and 70s. So, I mean, that's pretty much the story. 60s and 70s all across the west here. 68 in Salt Lake City. As you move farther south, you got 83 in Las Vegas. Los Angeles is 68, 66 in San Francisco. They're just cooler because the winds are coming off the cooler Pacific Ocean. And up through the valleys, looks like 84 at Fresno. Let me zoom in and yeah, so we got some 80s. So it's getting warm through the Central Valley of California. Farther north, it's up in the mid to upper 70s. You got to remember it's the heat of the day out there. Wow. Phoenix is up to 94, so it's pretty hot, getting pretty hot out in the deserts here. It looks like a couple showers out here in New Mexico and Arizona. Maybe a couple lightning strikes, especially down through here. They look a little stronger, but nothing too concerning right at this point. Um, and then as we look into Texas, a little more rain down here. There could be a couple pops of lightning here across South Texas here and there, but nothing severe to be too concerned about really. And a little bit cooler where the rain is. Looks like we've got some 50s and 60s. That's kind of cool for Texas. Up around Dallas, Fort Worth, 69, 68 in OKC, Oklahoma City. So pretty quiet. Nice weather. A little bit of winds coming up out of the West Texas into Kansas, gusting up to 30, 35 miles an hour in a few spots. Nothing too unusual for that part of the world. As we go across the southeast, we're looking at 60s and 70s, so a little bit cooler than normal. They got that front kind of pushed through and cooled them off, 10, 15 degrees. And then across Florida, it's cooling down a little bit. We got a row thunderstorm or two across the northern part of Florida, kind of north of Ocala. So yeah, north of the Orlando area. Looks like there's a couple storms down in South Florida too. I just noticed. Yeah, a couple thunderstorms. So they're getting some activity down there. Elsewhere, quiet. It's kind of cool, but not bad. 50s and 60s across the Carolinas up into Tennessee. And then you see these showers. It's kind of coolish, 40s and 50s back here across Ohio, Indiana, and parts of the Great Lakes into Pennsylvania and New York. Looks like a little bit cooler. Syracuse and Buffalo are like in the 30s, upper 30s. So it's like a rain snow mix in Rochester. So some of this stuff's probably mixing with rain, but probably not a whole lot of snow accumulations. Looks like a couple spots with snow up in Maine. So there might be some light accumulations but temperatures are kind of mostly above freezing. So yeah, so but that's kind of going to be winding down tonight. That should be pushing out here later tonight after midnight sometime. So yeah, so oops, that's about it. Yeah, the northern plains a little cold, cool up here, 40s and 50s across the Dakotas, even down into Iowa, a little bit chilly, and then some 30s up northern part of Minnesota. So yeah, they're getting a little wintry type weather there, I guess. Winter's trying to hold on, one last gasp. I think it's gonna be ending here as we go into the end of May or into April into May. We're gonna see that warm May sun starting to kick a lot of that really cold air out of here. So here's our model. That's our upper level depiction. Yeah, we'll go through that. I'll just kind of tell you what's going on in the upper levels. This is our 500 millibar chart. Hold on a sec. I gotta turn off my air conditioner. It's a little warm today. My camper's been sitting all day. I'm staying in my camper until May, until I can get into my home. Anyway, so yeah, so this is our upper level pattern at 500 millibars. This is roughly 18,000 feet above sea level. This is a good depiction of kind of where the storms are and what's causing what. So anyways, I'll explain this to you. So on the west coast, you can kind of see there's a low pressure system. You can't see it completely, but you can kind of see the edge of it here off the coast of California there. That's what's bringing in that moisture and the beginnings of rain up here in Northern California and Oregon. We've got a little disturbance moving across looks like Southern California into Northern Mexico and parts of the Southwest. And that's what's helping to fuel a couple of those showers and storms that we saw. Those real isolated things anyways. And then a little disturbance across Texas. You can see this yellow and orange kind of stuff. That's just showing some energy in the atmosphere. And it's called vorticity. So that causes kind of spin in the atmosphere, which produces clouds and rain. So kind of upward motion, as we call it. And then we got, this is a ridge of high pressure. So it's kind of flattened, but there is some activity there. But as you get up into this part of the country, we got a little bit of an induced ridge through here. The reason why I say induced is because you got a low to the east and a low out here, so you got a ridge in between. So that's causing all that nice weather across the Intermountain West here towards the Great Basin right now. So, and out on the East Coast and the Northeast, we got this trough of low pressure, and that's what's bringing that cooler air across this area up into the Northeast through the Great Lakes and the Northern Plains. That's why you got the cooler air. So yeah, and that's what was pushing that front out to sea. That's kind of supporting that strong frontal system that brought in that colder air over the weekend. So as we go through time, so that was tonight. So as we go through tomorrow, that trough of low pressure slowly pushes across the Northeast, and then we see another little wave up in Canada, but it may just stay up north. It might clip Maine here. But this is tomorrow afternoon, evening, so Monday afternoon. And then this low, you can see it's slowly getting closer to California. We still have the ridge of high pressure across the Intermountain West, and then we still got this disturbance across the desert Southwest and Texas, maybe a little bit into Louisiana. So some of this area may see some showers and storms. So this little bit of stuff you see over Florida, that's probably going to help kick off a few showers and storms tomorrow, especially in the afternoon hours across parts of Florida. It'll be mostly isolated activity. So as we go into Tuesday, so this is Tuesday, so you kind of see this system that was out in the west or southwest is moving across Texas, so that'll keep the rain and storms going, make it a little more numerous on Monday and Tuesday, and then it looks like it'll spread through the south on as we go into later in the day on Tuesday. This whole system kind of pushes out to sea, but we got this clipper. Like I said, it's up from Canada. It may clip the northeast and bring a little bit of weather. You can see this now by Tuesday. This thing's pushed inland. Looks like the low itself's out over just offshore, but there's some pretty good energy moving across California, Nevada, and Oregon. So you're going to start seeing a lot more precipitation and clouds out, even into parts of Idaho. So that might even bring a few thunderstorms. So something to keep an eye on as we go into Tuesday. Wednesday, we'll focus on this. So this system, so we see the low kind of ejects and moves up over Idaho and this part, the northern Rockies, and some energy moves across Nevada and Utah up into Wyoming. So the entire west here will be stormy with some showers, thunderstorms, especially on the warm side, which would be here on the eastern side. Probably a little bit, and it'll bring in some cooler air also. This dip of low pressure will bring in slightly cooler air, but nothing as cold as we had last week when that system we had moved through there. And you can see the ridge is pushed into the middle part of the country, that ridge of high pressure, so that'll bring temporarily nice weather, and that'll definitely warm it up too as across the plains and parts of the Midwest. Looks like this activity is starting to exit Texas. There might be some lingering showers, but it looks like most of the energy now is over the southeast, so showers and thunderstorms are likely there. There's that energy on Wednesday moving across Maine, so parts of the northeast may see some rain and rain showers, and that'll kind of bring a shot of colder air, somewhat colder air as you move through the day on Wednesday. So as we go into Thursday, so nothing big change. It looks like that energy stays over the northeast with colder air as we go into Thursday. So it'll stay cool out there, maybe a little unsettled, maybe some rain or snow, or depends on the temperatures. I haven't looked at the temperatures, but we'll take a look at that. And then this system starts pushing out into the northern plains. So this is what's going to start developing a low pressure and a cold front that'll move across the plains and eventually across the Great Lakes in the Midwest as we go into Thursday and Friday. And it looks like a threat of severe weather, thunderstorms, severe thunderstorms. We still have this trough out here in the west, so that would keep it unsettled, maybe some rain out here. And even rain and thunderstorms across the southwest here, it looks like, with that energy. The ridge kind of pushes east, so this part of the country will dry out or be dry. Looks like the southeast starts to settle down and dry out as we go into Thursday. And then on Friday, it looks a little unsettled over Florida. There's a little weak trough of low pressure over them, so that could bring some showers and storms as we go on to, that kind of hangs on like Wednesday through Friday down there. So it'll probably bring some wet conditions. So as we go into Friday, that low kind of spins off here and it keeps bringing little waves around into the northeast, keeping it cool and unsettled. So we see this first system. So this thing kind of, you have a reinforcing shot that kind of came out of Canada on this is on Friday. So that's going to keep this system kind of winding up out here. And then we see another system out here off the coast of California. A lot of energy over the western part of the U.S., so it'll be unsettled out there with showers and storms, maybe a little bit back here too in the northwest. And Florida still looks like, even maybe parts of Georgia may see a little bit of unsettled weather with showers and maybe some thunderstorms. So we'll keep an eye on that. So that's the upper level pattern. So I'll try to speed this up a little bit. At least we don't have a whole lot of super active weather to talk about. So this is for the rest of tonight. So you can see that it's kind of there's some lingering stuff across the northeast, maybe some rain and snow mix, and then there's those showers across Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and New York. And then here's the showers and storms across Texas. That'll continue through tonight. Looks like some stuff, probably mostly offshore. It'll die down over the land during the nighttime. And then we got this stuff moving into California and Washington. As you move into the day on Monday, this kind of spreads into New Mexico and Texas, showers and thunderstorms, maybe a little bit in eastern Arizona. Gets pretty dry now. So by tomorrow, those showers should be ending. There might be a few left over in the afternoon across the northeast, but it's going to quiet down. Looks like might be some showers and thunderstorms across South Florida tomorrow, but it looks like that front pushes way south of them by Tuesday. And then you can see this, yeah, so like I was talking about, this energy pushes into Louisiana. So we'll see, some wet conditions with some showers and storms, even into southern Oklahoma. And then there you go out west. See that? You got that stuff spreading inland. Looks like some, higher elevation snow, maybe elevations above 6 or 7,000 may see some snow again, especially in the overnight and morning hours. And here's that next system. It starts showing up over Illinois and Michigan. It's a little weak cold front. See maybe some showers and maybe some couple thunderstorms. Another weak front as we go into Tuesday and to Wednesday. It kind of moves into the mid-Atlantic and also across the northeast. So that's like I told you, it's going to stay unsettled across the northeast. So here's Thursday. As we go into Thursday, we see this strong low develop up there. The northern plains look like up in North Dakota. It'll get a little windy out ahead of it and even behind it. Looks like some snow for Montana and parts of Idaho and Wyoming possibly. Maybe a little bit in North Dakota. The models are kind of indecisive, and there's still some differences on how this evolves, but there's going to be a storm out there. It's just the exact timing and where the snow may be. I think most of it will stay in Canada, but Montana and parts of Wyoming and Idaho and even North Dakota may get a little bit of snow. So we're getting into the third week of April and it's pretty active. And then this here, so on Thursday, we'll probably see some. They've got SPC's got confident enough. They've got a severe outlook, severe thunderstorms in this, like Iowa, parts of eastern or southeast Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri, that general area. I won't show you it because it'll probably change or a little bit, but that's on Thursday. So it looks like more unsettled weather, stormy weather for the plains up into the northern Midwest on Thursday. And as we go into Friday, that front starts pushing towards Michigan and Wisconsin and Illinois through Missouri and Arkansas and Oklahoma may be under the gun for some more strong to severe thunderstorms. So they don't have anything yet on the SPC, the Storm Prediction Center. Still a little far out, but I wouldn't be surprised to see something maybe in the next day or two. They may get a little more confidence in that happening. So that's about it. So some unsettled weather early in the week, especially across Texas and parts of the West, elsewhere, and the Northeast. So kind of different corners of the country. But yeah, so yeah, and that energy I saw across Florida, they're showing some showers. It doesn't look too crazy, but so they could get a little bit of rain and showers. But right now, they're not painting a whole lot, just maybe isolated scattered stuff as we go into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday down in Florida. So But yeah, and then we got this big system developing in the middle part of the country by Thursday. So yeah, so that's what's going on, folks. I'm sticking with what I said. Yeah, I appreciate y'all. We went up to 51 subscribers, so thank you for the 50th and 51st subscriber. We've gone up one or two over the last week or so. So hey, that's great. We're slowly climbing. Just tell your friends, your family, your kids, your grandkids. Tell them, hey, if they want to learn about weather, you can get weather on your apps, but you're not going to learn anything. So, like, if you listen to me, I'll tell you why things are happening. If you want to know, I mean, this not only is to give you like my take on the weather, but also to give you a little education, especially for the young ones or even the old ones that always wanted to know about meteorology but never knew. So, hey, I've got 30 plus years of experience. I've worked in the civilian world. I've worked with mostly with the government, with the National Weather Service and Air Force in the military. So I've been doing this for a long time. I started this before there was computers. So I used to have do paper charts and color in fronts with pencils and markers, and I used to plot observations and do all kinds of fun stuff. I loved it. It was like being in an art class, but loving meteorology. So those were the days. I kind of miss that stuff. Now the computer does most of the stuff for you, but you can still do that if you want. I mean, there's still ways to do that, but they don't teach a lot of that anymore. So us old schoolers have that knowledge and can can teach you a few things that we know. Anyways, hey, enough of me talking. This is Wixman Ray with our daily weather update. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Same place, same time. Well, not same time, but same place. Another day. Okay, so Wixman Ray out.